Do you remember my father used to be professor of biology at Queen's? He always used to say, man is a savage animal who periodically, to relieve his nervous tension, tries to destroy himself.
After decades of speculation and innuendo, Patrice Wymore, the 78-year-old widow of famed actor Errol Flynn, has finally revealed long-held secrets. Hollywood is grappling with her surprising discoveries, changing our view of Flynn's enigmatic life and legacy. As the spotlight shines on these disclosures, the true tale of one of Hollywood's most recognizable performers emerges, promising to forever change his reputation. Young Errol. Errol Leslie Thompson Flynn was born on 20th June 1909 at the Queen Alexandra Hospital in Battery Point, Tasmania. His father, Theodore Thompson Flynn, was a lecturer before becoming a marine biology and zoology professor at the University of Tasmania and Queen's University of Belfast, where he held the chair of zoology. Theodore was the first biology professor in Tasmania. Flynn's mother, Lily Mary Young, changed her first name to Morell shortly after marrying Theodore at St. John's Church of England in Birchgrove, Sydney. Flynn had a younger sister, Nora Rosemary Flynn. Flynn identified his mother's family as seafaring folk, which inspired his lifelong fascination with boats and the sea. His parents were born in Australia and descended from Ireland, England, and Scotland. Despite Flynn's claims, there is no evidence that he is descended from any of the Bounty mutineers. He attended many schools, including the Hutchins School, Hobart College, the Friends School, and Albuera Street Primary School, but was expelled from all of them. He made one of his first public appearances as a page boy to Enid Lyons at a Queen Carnival in 1918 when he was 9. In her memoirs, Lyons recalled Flynn as a dashing figure with a fearless, somewhat haughty expression, and remarked that he had already demonstrated the sang-froid for which he would later be famous. However, his participation did not materially aid their case at the carnival as they finished third. Between 1923 and 1925, Flynn attended South West London College, an elite boarding school in Barnes, London. In 1926, he went to Australia to attend Sydney Church of England Grammar School, also known as Shore, where he was classmates with John Gorton, a future Australian Prime Minister. Flynn's formal schooling ended when he was expelled from Shore for theft, which he subsequently claimed was the result of a sexual encounter with the school's laundress. After being fired as a junior clerk at a Sydney shipping company for stealing petty cash, Flynn fled to Papua New Guinea at 18 to seek wealth through tobacco farming and gold mining in the Marobe goldfield. For the next 5 years, he alternated between New Guinea and Sydney, stepping into the limelight. In the early 1930s, Australian filmmaker Charles Chauvel began working on a film on the infamous mutiny on the Bounty, titled In the Wake of the Bounty. This one-of-a-kind effort combines dramatic reenactments of the historical mutiny with a documentary portion depicting modern-day life on Pitcairn Island. Chauvel required a riveting actor to play Fletcher Christian, and many sources describe how Errol Flynn secured the job. According to one version, Chauvel spotted Flynn's picture in an article about a yacht accident in which he was involved. However, the most frequently recognized tale is that another cast member, John Warwick, discovered Flynn. Despite its little box office success, the picture marked Flynn's debut as a lead actor and inspired him to fly to Britain in late 1933 to pursue an acting career. In 1934, Flynn was sacked from the Northampton Repertory Theatre for throwing a female stage manager down the stairs. This incident compelled him to return to London, where he was quickly offered the main role in Murder at Monte Carlo, a quote-a-quickie film produced by Warner Brothers at Teddington Studios in Middlesex. Although the picture was poorly received and is now thought lost, Flynn's performance thrilled director Irving Asher. Asher then recommended Flynn to Warner Brothers in Hollywood, and the studio's management agreed to bring him to Los Angeles. During his journey from London to the United States, Flynn encountered Lily DeMita, an actress 5 years his senior. They finally married, and Demita's Hollywood connections proved helpful as Flynn launched his career there. Warner Brothers marketed Flynn as an Irish leading man of the London stage, which helped raise his first profile. Flynn made his film debut in The Case of the Curious Bride, appearing in 2 brief moments. His next role was more substantial: Don't Bet on Blondes, a B-movie screwball comedy. Flynn's breakthrough came with Warner Brothers' high-budget swashbuckler film, Captain Blood, directed by Michael Curtis and based on Raphael Sabatini's 1922 novels. The studio first wanted Robert Donat to play the lead, but he withdrew owing to concerns about his chronic asthma. Other actors considered were Leslie Howard and James Cagney. After doing screen tests, Warner Brothers cast Flynn in the starring role with 19-year-old Olivia de Havilland. The film was a huge success, launching the careers of both Flynn and de Havilland and beginning a successful on-screen collaboration that would last 8 films and 6 years. Captain Blood had a budget of more than $1 million and generated about $3 million internationally, resulting in a large profit for Warner Brothers. Following the success of Captain Blood, Flynn starred alongside Frederick March in Anthony Adverse. However, Warner Brothers decided to rejoin Flynn, de Havilland, and Curtis for another adventure film, The Charge of the Light Brigade, during the Crimean War. With a budget of $1.2 million, this film earned a profit of $2 million, making it Warner Bros.' highest-grossing film in 1936. Despite these adventure pictures' great popularity, Flynn wished to play more diverse parts. When Leslie Howard became ill and had to withdraw from the film adaptation of Lloyd Douglas's inspirational novel, Flynn was chosen to play the lead in Green Light. In this film, he played a doctor on a mission to discover a cure for Rocky Mountain spotted fever. Flynn then appeared in another swashbuckler, The Prince and the Pauper, replacing Patrick Knowles as Miles Hendon. Flynn's career took off when he acted in his most famous film, The Adventures of Robin Hood, portraying the classic title role alongside de Havilland as Marion. This picture received widespread praise and was the 6th highest-grossing film of 1938. Notably, it was the first major Warner Brothers movie to employ the 3-strip Technicolor process, yielding a visually beautiful experience. Robin Hood was Warner Bros.' most expensive film to date, costing $2 million. However, it proved to be a profitable venture, earning about $5 million in the United States and abroad, resulting in significant profits. During this time, Flynn was the star that everyone wanted to work with. His captivating performances and swashbuckling portrayals piqued the interest of viewers worldwide. However, the pressures and excesses of Hollywood success began to have an impact on both Flynn's personal and professional life. As his career advanced, he encountered various challenges that would ultimately lead to his collapse. Envy ends marriage. War consumes. Son. Errol Flynn's relationship with his first wife, Lily Demita, began with a chance meeting in a crowded place. Flynn, who had previously encountered Demita on his trip to the United States, recognized her and chose to contact her again. Despite being rudely rejected the first time, Flynn liked the challenge and pursued her with newfound vigor. Demita finally gave in to his advances. Lily Demita was a stunning French actress who had already established herself as a Hollywood star, whereas Flynn was a struggling actor looking to make an impression. Demita, 5 years Flynn's senior, enchanted him with her beauty and grace. Their whirlwind relationship quickly led to marriage in Arizona, then a transfer to the Hollywood Hills. To the outside world, Flynn and Demita appeared to be a fairy tale pair, exuding Hollywood elegance and romanticism. However, beneath the surface, their relationship was turbulent and riddled with conflict. The couple routinely got into intense disagreements, and their friends frequently overheard them exchanging harsh and derogatory statements in public. Their tumultuous relationship was already deteriorating. Lily Demita, born Liliane Marie Madeleine Carré, was a well-known French actress best recognized for her early film performances. After marrying Errol Flynn, she opted to retire from the screen, with her final part in the 1938 French film's Escadrille of Chance. This approach allowed Flynn to capitalize on Demita's celebrity and industry ties. His career began to take off, and he landed his first lead role in Hollywood as the swashbuckling hero in Captain Blood, co-starring with the youthful Olivia de Havilland. Flynn and de Havilland's on-screen chemistry wowed audiences, sparking considerable suspicion about their off-screen romance. Despite Flynn's marriage to Demita, many fans struggled to accept that he and de Havilland were no longer together. This supposition, however, did not appear to concern Demita as much as her declining reputation as the more famous half of the partnership. She was consumed by jealousy and frequently vented her frustrations on Flynn. The couple's glitzy exterior in Hollywood concealed a disintegrating relationship. Demita's jealousy intensified as Flynn's star rose, and she struggled to accept seeing her gorgeous husband surrounded by other women. This jealousy and insecurity added to the strain on their marriage. Flynn, on the other hand, had become increasingly arrogant as a result of his newfound success, hiding his underlying fears behind his confidence. He was always tight, like a grenade with the pin pulled, ready to burst at any time. Sean, the couple's son, was born in 1940. However, the birth of their child did little to heal their strained relationship. Following Sean's birth, Demita filed for divorce from Flynn, who was entangled in a scandal involving two teenage members of his fan club. Although Flynn was ultimately acquitted of the accusations, the harm to their marriage was irreversible. Demita was awarded half of Flynn's assets and $1,500 in monthly alimony by the divorce court in 1942. Their son, Sean, eventually became an actor, following in his father's footsteps. However, his life took a catastrophic turn when he chose to become a war correspondent during the Vietnam War. Sean went missing in April 1970 in Cambodia's Kampong Cham province. Despite intensive searches funded by Demita, Sean's body was never discovered, and he was pronounced dead in 1984, ending more than a decade of uncertainty and suffering for his mother. Despite his wealth and attractive features, Errol Flynn's personal life was fraught with conflict and controversy. His marriage to Lily Demita was a roller coaster of passion and strife, resulting in a harsh divorce. The strains of celebrity, along with personal fears and external problems, put Flynn's life far from the idyllic image generally painted by the media. Flynn and Demita led difficult lives in the years following their divorce. Flynn's career witnessed further highs and lows, while Demita stayed out of the spotlight, struggling with her son's death and the memories of her difficult marriage. Untamed lifestyle. Errol Flynn, a legendary figure from Hollywood's golden age, was known for his on-screen heroics and off-screen antics. His life was a frenzy of excitement, extravagance, and scandal, punctuated by unapologetic hedonism that left a lasting imprint on his public image. Flynn lived an uncontrolled life and embraced his status as a symbol of libido and excess, frequently boasting about his countless conquests and escapades. Flynn's self-proclaimed status as a phallic symbol was more than just bravado. It was an essential part of his personality. He constantly boasted about his abilities and the number of people he had been with, claiming to have slept with approximately 10,000 women in his lifetime. This number, whether genuine or overstated, emphasized his larger-than-life personality and insatiable need for pleasure and adventure. However, Flynn's libertine lifestyle was not without its sinister side. At 1943, he was confronted with serious allegations that threatened to destroy his career and tarnish his reputation. Flynn was accused of molesting two young girls, a controversy that drew widespread attention. He agreed to have a consensual relationship with one of the accusers, Peggy Satterley, but claimed to know very little about the other, Betty Hansen. The trial created a media phenomenon, increasing Flynn's celebrity and solidifying his position as a controversial sex symbol. The trial, which exposed sensitive facts about Flynn's personal life, became a public spectacle. For example, many people found Satterley's evidence that Flynn did not remove his shoes during their encounter odd, given his recent film role. The irony was not lost on the public, who watched the trial with a mixture of humor and scandalized interest. Flynn's flamboyant demeanor and shameless embracing of his own mythos drew men in, while women were often intrigued, if not enamored, by his deadly charm. Despite the trial's aftermath, Flynn's personal life remained as colorful and contentious as ever. His residence, Mulholland House, reflected his voyeuristic inclinations and fondness for clandestine extravagance. Flynn had several mirrors and hiding spots built into his estate, including an overhead trapdoor over a guest bedroom for covert viewing. Rolling Stones musician Ronnie Wood, who saw the mansion as a possible buyer in the 1970s, observed that Errol had two-way mirrors, speaker systems in the ladies' room. Not for security, simply put, he was an A1 voyeur. On March 1955, the famed Hollywood gossip magazine Confidential published a scandalous article titled "The Greatest Show in Town, Errol Flynn and His Two-Way Mirror." Actress Hedy Lamarr wrote in her 1966 biographies, "Many of the bathrooms have peepholes or ceilings with squares of opaque glass through which you can't see out, but someone can see in." The trial had a profound impact on Flynn, both personally and professionally. Friends and colleagues saw his obvious sorrow throughout the proceedings. He fought to keep his composure and meet his professional obligations, demonstrating the pressure the trial put on him. Despite his outward manner, the weight of the claims and the persistent media scrutiny had a significant impact. Flynn was eventually acquitted, which allowed him to restore part of his ruined reputation. Nonetheless, he remained relatively naive to the broader ramifications of his actions, claiming that while he was technically blameless, his behavior had been imprudent. He frequently rationalized his acts by claiming that the young girls had provoked him, which further added to his divisive legacy. Flynn's obsession with Eddington was a reflection of his inability to resist temptation, regardless of the circumstances. His pursuit of her during such a turbulent time exemplified his unwavering quest for pleasure and adventure. This action, although adding to his allure, also demonstrated his recklessness and disregard for repercussions. His second wife. Errol Flynn's relationship with his second wife, Nora Eddington, is fraught with mystery, passion, and volatility. Their relationship, characterized by passionate romantic ambitions, societal expectations, and Flynn's erratic personal habits, creates a vivid portrait of their difficult existence together. Flynn was tireless in his pursuit of Nora Eddington. Despite her engagement to another guy and her strong Catholic beliefs, Flynn persevered. Their relationship began as a friendship and evolved as Eddington became Flynn's employee. Despite his constant amorous advances, Eddington consistently rejected him, retaining her original commitment. She became romantically connected with Flynn after breaking up her engagement. This transformation in their relationship happened quickly, and Eddington soon found herself pregnant. Faced with an unexpected pregnancy, Flynn urged that Eddington consider terminating it, but she rejected it, owing to her beliefs. She was resolved to marry Flynn, even if it was just temporarily until their child was born. Surprisingly, Flynn indicated a real desire to marry her as well, but he insisted on keeping the marriage private, owing to issues from his job and a recent court matter. This secrecy, however, proved to be more difficult than they had expected. The pair married in Acapulco in 1943, but their union was riddled with challenges from the beginning. Flynn flew to New York City soon after their wedding, leaving the pregnant Eddington alone in Mexico. He did not return for 6 months, coming just before the birth of their daughter, Deirdre. Flynn's absence at this vital moment was noteworthy, as he struggled to remain present even after his return. By the time Deirdre was born, Flynn had already distanced himself emotionally and physically. Flynn's infidelity remained unabated. He was unfaithful while in New York, and it only became worse when he returned. While Eddington was in the hospital, Flynn frequented a pub and even had an affair with one of her friends. The problem was exacerbated when the hospital disclosed facts about their marriage and the birth of their child to the media, resulting in a public controversy. Despite the long separations and repeated rumors of divorce, Eddington and their infant eventually moved in with Flynn. Flynn was initially averse to making lifestyle modifications to accommodate his new family. Eddington, on the other hand, imposed two non-negotiable conditions. They had to live together at Mulholland House, and Flynn could do whatever he wanted as long as he did not disgrace her in public. Flynn consented, and their unorthodox relationship began. However, the issues persisted. Flynn's difficulties with substance misuse posed a huge challenge in their marriage. His youthful dabbling with opium had resulted in a terrible addiction. Flynn frequently grew violent while under the influence, even biting Eddington so severely that her arm had to be cast. The next day, he would have no memory of his deeds. As his addiction grew, it began to interfere with his work life. Film directors and studio executives were aware of Flynn's drinking issue and attempted to help him, but their efforts frequently backfired, stimulating his inventiveness and increasing his need for alcohol. Flynn's alcoholism was well known across Hollywood. His antics were notorious at Hollywood events. In one memorable event, Flynn was kicked out of a lavish celebration at Hearst Castle owing to his excessive drinking. During another interview with filmmaker John Huston, Flynn was asked about his lack of military service during World War II. In reaction, Flynn made a provocative remark about his previous connection with Olivia de Havilland, resulting in a physical brawl that left both men hospitalized. Life with Flynn was an ongoing difficulty for Eddington. She was aware of his many extramarital affairs, but she kept her own hidden. Eddington fell in love with the musician Richard Hames. Both Hames and Eddington were married at the time, but they chose to leave their spouses to be together. This turn of events had a profound impact on Flynn, who had never been good at handling rejection. By the early 1950s, his career and financial circumstances had deteriorated, and he blamed external factors, feeling exploited by the studio, the press, and society as a whole. Turbulent relationship with Patrice. Errol Flynn married Patrice Wymore, an actress best recognized for her work in musicals and comedies, for the third time in the 1950s. Their union appeared promising, and on 25 December 1953, they welcomed their daughter, Arnella Roma Flynn. The family originally adopted a lavish lifestyle, living on Flynn's beloved yacht, the Zaka, in the Mediterranean. They went diving, swimming, and socializing with a number of important people, including Rita Hayworth, King Farouk of Egypt, and Prince Rainier. Flynn frequently reminisced about happy moments spent with friends, many of whom were also yacht owners. The companionship and shared dinners on their yachts were the centerpieces of their social lives. Despite these happy occasions, Flynn's personal issues were never far from the surface. He carried luggage labeled Flynn Enterprises everywhere he traveled, including vodka, quinine, glasses, and a Bible. This odd collection represented his more dissolute and sad state. Flynn's alcoholism worsened, wreaking havoc on his once iconic visage. His face swelled and turned gray, a dramatic contrast to the attractive look that had previously enthralled spectators. Flynn's financial situation deteriorated considerably. He found himself bankrupt, having accepted responsibility for a number of economic disasters. This period of decline was a low point in his life, but strangely, it also opened the way for a professional rebound. In the mid-1950s, Flynn began to seek jobs that suited his changing appearance and personal issues. He took on roles that matched his own circumstances, playing individuals who were down and out or battling with addiction. One notable example was his portrayal in Too Much Too Soon, in which he played his idol, John Barrymore, a fellow actor famous for his alcoholism. Flynn commented on this ironic turn in his career, saying, "I earn more money now as a shadow of my former self than I did when I was my former self. Flynn's relationship with Patrice Wymore, while first glamorous and exciting, began to suffer under the weight of his inner troubles. The couple finally split, although they never got divorced. Wymore was a mainstay in Flynn's life until his death, supporting him despite the difficulties and volatility that marked their marriage. Patrice Wymore faced the challenges of being married to a guy whose life was constantly in the spotlight and frequently entangled in scandal. She watched Flynn spiral into alcoholism, as well as his professional and financial troubles. Despite their separation, Wymore pursued her own career, participating in films and television series, but she was always remembered as Errol Flynn's wife. Arnella, the couple's daughter, grew up in this turbulent environment. Flynn's love for his daughter was obvious, but his lifestyle and addictions gradually strained their relationship. Arnella grew up with knowledge of her father's prominence and problems, a dual legacy that influenced her own life in complex ways. Health struggles. Errol Flynn's life, which had both dazzling success and emotional agony, concluded in a manner as dramatic and sad as his years on screen. By 1959, Flynn was facing serious financial difficulties, a sharp contrast to his peak of glory. These economic difficulties forced him to negotiate the lease of his beloved yacht, the Zaka, with a businessman named George Caldo. This choice signaled the start of the final chapter in Flynn's life. On October 1959, Flynn traveled to Vancouver, British Columbia, accompanied by the young actress Beverly Adland. During this trip, Flynn suffered excruciating back and leg pain, the result of years of physical strain and health issues. Caldo, concerned about Flynn's deteriorating condition, agreed to drive him to the airport for his return flight to Los Angeles on October 14. However, as Flynn's suffering worsened, Caldo took him to Dr. Grant Gould's home in Vancouver. Dr. Gould examined Flynn and determined that his severe discomfort was caused by degenerative disc degeneration and spine osteoarthritis. Dr. Gould gave Flynn 50 milligrams of Demerol intravenously to help him feel better. The drug brought temporary respite, and Flynn, feeling a little better, began to recount memories from his past with his trademark charm and vividness. Despite this little respite, the situation turned disastrous. Beverly Adland discovered Flynn unresponsive around 20 minutes after he received his shot. Despite prompt medical attention, including transportation to Vancouver General Hospital, Flynn never recovered consciousness. He was pronounced dead that evening, capping off a turbulent existence that had fascinated millions. The coroner's report painted a striking picture of Flynn's physical state at the time of his death. The primary cause was a myocardial infarction, also known as a heart attack, which was caused by coronary thrombosis and atherosclerosis. These symptoms suggested serious cardiac disease, which was likely exacerbated by Flynn's long history of heavy drinking and irresponsible behavior. The coroner also detected fatty deterioration of the liver and partial cirrhosis, emphasizing the severity of his long-standing alcoholism. Flynn's death, while not wholly unexpected considering his lifestyle, caused tremors throughout the entertainment industry and among his many followers. He was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park Cemetery in Glendale, California, a spot he had previously despised because it was extremely extravagant and did not suit his preferences. Nonetheless, Flynn was buried here with a unique and striking monument to his life. 6 bottles of his favorite whiskey were put in his casket, a nod to his well-documented love of booze. Was he a spy? The controversy surrounding Errol Flynn's life and legacy has fueled debate and curiosity long after his death in 1959. These scandals touch on many parts of his personal and professional life, calling into question both his reputation and the public's impression of the flamboyant Hollywood star. In the 1980s, Charles Hyam wrote Errol Flynn, The Untold Story, a highly contentious biography in which he made shocking charges concerning Flynn's World War II operations and personal life. Hyam stated that Flynn was a fascist sympathizer who spied for the Nazis, implying that Flynn helped film Dive Bomber at the San Diego Naval Base to deliver military knowledge to Japanese strategists. These charges were sensationalized and lacked supporting evidence. Despite Hyam's efforts to build a compelling case, Flynn's friend David Niven and subsequent biographers, including Lincoln Hurst, contested these assertions. Hurst, for example, said that Flynn attempted to join the Office of Strategic Services in 1942, but the FBI, which was monitoring him, discovered no indication of subversive activity. Hyam's assertions were further questioned when Tony Thomas and Buster Wiles accused him of tampering with FBI papers to back up his claims. In reaction to the controversy sparked by Hyam's book, Flynn's children, Rory and Deirdre, filed legal action. They hired renowned attorney Melvin Belly to pursue a libel claim against Hyam and his publisher, Doubleday. However, the complaint was dismissed under the legal premise that deceased people cannot be defamed. Despite the judicial setback, Hyam persisted in his assertions for years, even revisiting them in the year 2000. He referred to Anne Lane, who oversaw Flynn's British intelligence agency file, as a source. However, Hyam never saw the file and was unable to acquire formal confirmation of its existence. The persistence of these allegations has influenced Flynn's public image, adding layers of complexity to his already contentious reputation. Wymore repeatedly defended Flynn, underlining that his colorful public appearance did not reflect the genuine man she knew. She attributed much of Flynn's actions to his poor connection with his mother, who she claimed belittled and physically mistreated him as a child. Wymore cited Flynn's autobiography, My Wicked, Wicked Ways, in which he openly described his difficult upbringing and how it influenced his mature actions. According to Wymore, Flynn struggled with difficulties of trust and control over women throughout his life, which he addressed in his autobiography. Wymore reflected on Flynn's life in her latter years with a mix of nostalgia and practicality, accepting his failings while defending his legacy from what she saw as unjustified criticism. She offered a nuanced perspective on Flynn's intricacies, giving insight into the man beneath the larger-than-life character. We hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.